Hello, my name is Elizabeth Lagunas, and I'm going to be discussing ensuring students understand instructions. And we're going to be particularly focusing on students that have exceptional learning needs in the classroom, although of course these keys will also help any students in the classroom. Now, the first question we face is, why are we giving instructions such importance? Well, the reason that they are so important is that as educators, they are a critical part of our job. There is no subject and no school where a teacher will not be required to give instructions of some sort. And as a result, because instructions are used so regularly, they impact a student's academic life very much. Now, it's obvious that as educators, we may think that we're already giving clear directions, but to a student that has exceptional learning needs, our directions may not be clear because they understand things a little bit differently. Now, we've addressed how important instructions are as an educator. The next question is, how can we then improve these instructions? The good thing is that it is possible to take quick and simple steps to increase student understanding, which is what we're going to do during this brief PowerPoint presentation. We're going to be talking about 5 keys that we can utilize to help our students with exceptional learning needs. The first key we're going to be covering is gaining students' full attention. The second will be providing written and oral instructions. The third will be repeating instructions. The fourth, chunk instruction. The fifth, solicit tellbacks and show me's, and we'll be going into depth for each of these keys. The first key that we're going to be discussing is that of gaining a student's full attention. It's important to understand that when it comes to students, especially our students with exceptional learning needs, there isn't just one form of attention. Let's briefly discuss 4. Executive attention, selective attention, sustained attention, and orienting attention. In these 4 cases, our students with exceptional needs will often struggle with these different types of attentions. Now, there is a system that we can use to help them be able to give us the attention that we need when we're giving directions, and that is called the 2Q system. It consists of Q1, which is raising your hand to signal for quiet attention. Once a student notices that you have your hand, they will raise their hand and be quiet, and then another student will realize that they have their hand up, so on and so forth, until within a few seconds the entire classroom has their hands raised and is quiet and paying attention to you in the front. Now we move on to Q2. Once everyone has their hands raised and is paying attention, we begin the instructional cue, which is where we point to our eyes, then our ears, and then the middle of our chest while saying, eyes and ears on me. This is something that can be very beneficial because it will ensure that the attention of the entire classroom is focused on us, and we'll have less confusion as well. The second key for ensuring that students understand instructions is that of providing both written and oral instructions. Now the question is, why is it necessary to do both? And the basic reasoning is that there are different students that learn differently, especially amongst our students with exceptional learning needs. We may have auditory learners and visual learners. For example, an auditory learner may need oral directions to supplement the written directions that we've given them in order to be able to fully comprehend them. In the case of a visual learner, they may need those written directions to supplement the oral directions that we've given in order to be able to understand everything. Now, it's very simple to implement this particular key because, for example, when we've given out a handbook or we've asked a class to perform something, one of the exercises in a textbook, an educator can simply choose to read aloud the directions to the class. Or if the teacher is providing those oral directions to everyone, they can simply be written on the whiteboard, written on an overhead, or even put up on a PowerPoint slide beforehand. So in that way, we're able to reach both our auditory and our visual learners in the classroom. There are a few benefits to this, which are we are going to eliminate the confusion because perception will be supported. Sequencing is going to be facilitated because students are going to both see and hear the instructions, and the frustration of our students will be reduced because they'll be able to fully understand what they're actually supposed to be doing. The third key to ensuring that students understand instruction is actually repeating the instructions. Now lies the question, why is it important to repeat instructions? Well, particularly for our students with exceptional learning needs, listening to them once just simply isn't enough, and denying them the accommodations of repeating them would be illogical and rude. Particularly repetition increases the brain's ability to learn that new material. It reduces the cognitive load that the student is receiving in that moment. It also sharpens the brain's ability to recognize words for the future. And it gives more opportunity to decode that message. When we repeat our directions once, twice, 3 times, it allows our students to have more time to decode that message and truly understand it. And hopefully, by the time we have repeated it a second or a third time, their ability to understand it will be a lot higher at that point. Now, some of the benefits of repeating instructions are that sequencing is facilitated because they do have that opportunity to hear it more than once. Confusion will definitely be eliminated because they are repeatedly exposed to those directions. Memory will be enhanced because the more that you hear it, the more that you'll be able to remember it. And the student's frustration, once again, will be reduced because their confusion has been reduced as well. The fourth key that we're going to discuss in regards to ensuring that students understand instructions is utilizing chunk instructions. Now, what is chunking? According to de Groot, chunking means to combine small, meaningful units of information. Now, this helps a student because instead of remembering one long string of information that has been given to them, the learner needs to only remember several short strings. Chunking has been studied thoroughly and has showed that it produces an improvement for students in their tasks. Instead of giving a student a whole task, you wait to present one piece of the task at a time, and then after that part of the task has been completed, the next step can be provided. At this case, students will be more likely to understand it and complete it. Now, chunking also makes instructions easier to remember because it does reduce that memory load on the student. And there are many benefits to utilizing this. For example, it'll help eliminate confusion because students will no longer feel overwhelmed by the amount of information that we're giving them. Their memory will also be enhanced because we're giving them a smaller number of items to remember to do. And their frustration will be decreased because they will once again feel that they know exactly what they need to be doing. The fifth and final key to ensuring students understand instructions is soliciting tellbacks and show-me's. Now, in the case of our students with exceptional learning needs, very often they have difficulty with both verbal comprehension and listening comprehension. So we need to think of different ways to make sure that they're grasping the instructions that we're giving them. So as educators, the first thing that we need to do is stop asking, do you understand what you're supposed to do? Because in that case, the student can simply say yes and truly think that they have understood what they're supposed to be doing, but have not understood and complete the task incorrectly. So how can we solve this problem? Instead of asking that do you understand question, we can implement tell me's and show me's by asking tell me what you're supposed to do, and then listen to what the student has to say. Or we can ask, show me what you're supposed to do, in which case the student can actually exemplify what we've directed in the directions. Now, this strategy will really help us make sure that the students have fully comprehended what they're supposed to be doing, what their task is, and it'll also increase comprehension. A few of the benefits in regards to using these two strategies are eliminating confusion, enhancing their memory because they are repeating back or demonstrating back what we've asked them, and also increasing their metacognition because they know that they know what to do. They're absolutely sure of what they're supposed to do. And once again, we're eliminating their frustration because they're no longer confused. They feel confident in knowing what the task is that they need to complete. We've gone over 5 keys that teachers can utilize to ensure that their students with exceptional learning needs are understanding instructions in their classroom. To briefly summarize, we've also learned how important it is for instructions to be explicit, to be worded clearly, to be worded simply, and for them to be concrete. We also learned how important it is to utilize repetitions with our students with exceptional learning needs, and also how important it is for us to provide those instructions through different formats, whether that be verbal or written. Ultimately, these 5 keys can help us to unlock the doors to learning with these students.